All right, folks, we are going to take one of our light bulbs and one of our batteries and set it up so that we can make some light. So the first thing we're going to do, these are all the materials we're going to use, is one of the wires, one of the bulbs, one of the batteries, and one of the labels that I gave you in your bag. So here, and then the other thing that I'm going to use is some fingernail clippers. You might also just use scissors. Either of those things work pretty well. I found that fingernail clippers are a little bit easier to strip the wire, and you'll know what that means here in just a second. So first things first, let's set our label aside here with the battery. We are going to first snip our wire right in half. So it doesn't have to be exact. Fold it, figure out where is roughly half, and these fingernail clippers work quite well, I think, to snip. Cut it right in half. We're going to set one of those aside for just a second. With the one we want to work on now, I'm going to use these fingernail clippers to what we call strip the wire. And so I'm just taking the edge, the very corner of those clippers, and I am cutting through the plastic, leaving the wire on the inside. And so once I cut through most of it, then I can usually use my fingernail like that to pull the plastic off and leave the wire underneath. So there's one. I need to do the same thing to the other one, so let's do that real quick, and then we can move on. Snip, snip, snip. Twist. Stick your thumbnail in there. This might be something that an adult might have to help you with if you can't get this wire stripped. This is the hard part of our job here. You also may have an adult at your house that has some tools, and if so, they might be able to hand you this wire stripper, which is really a nice tool if this is something you're trying to do. But since you probably don't have that at home, I'm trying to show you with some stuff that you do have. Okay, so we've got our two wires stripped on the ends, cut in half, right? Now, I'm going to take my label, I'm going to tear it in half, and I'm going to take one of my wires that I stripped. I'm going to hold it so that the metal end is just touching. Let's put this right here on my sticker first. So I'm going to put it so that the metal end is right on top of the button on the battery. You can see how that's working. And then once I get it right there, I'm going to push it down really hard. If you look at the top, once you did it, you can see through the paper of the label. Yep, there's the wire, there's the shape of the button. So I got it. So then once I got it in place, I'm going to just fold down the other labels. I'm especially going to squeeze this part so the wire doesn't pull right out. And then the last thing I want to do, because this is the plus side, so I'm going to take a pencil or a pen and I'm going to make a little plus here so we know that that's the plus side. That'll be helpful later. We're going to take our other piece of wire and our other piece of label. I'm going to prep it again by putting that wire right there on the middle. And next, we're going to do the same thing. This time we're going to put it on the flat end of our battery. So hopefully you can see the wire has to be touching the flat end, and then we can push the sides down. Through the label, you can see that the wire sticks through and is touching the flat side of our label or of our battery, and then we'll just fold all the ends down. So now we have created a battery with two wire ends, just like that. So since we put a plus on one end, it makes the next step really easy. We're going to find the wire that comes out from that plus end. We're going to connect. Notice on our light bulb, one of the wires is a little bit longer than the other. That longer one needs to go to the plus, right? Plus wire, longer one, right in there in the alligator clip. And then our moment of truth. Let's see how we did. We're going to just touch it and see if it lights up. Let's give it some darkness. Hard to tell. It's doing it. It's lighting up. You got it. So to really make it light up and check, you can clip it, and then we'll make it nice and dark here so you can see it's lighting up inside my hands. If it doesn't work the first time, that's okay. Our next step is troubleshooting. Okay, so the other thing that might happen when you go to connect them and check on your wiring is you give yourself some darkness, you go to connect it, and nothing happens. Oh no, it didn't light up. So there's a few things that we might have done wrong, okay? We need to check and make sure first that all of our connections are nice and tight. So we can pull these things back and make sure that this guy is still attached nice and tight. These alligator clips shouldn't have come unattached, but like I can see there's a few little strands floating around in there. That could be a problem, but I think we're probably okay. Still connected in there. The other place we need to check is to make sure that our battery is nice and tight where the wires are touching on top of the button here on the plus side and on the flat side down here. So we're going to push them down with our finger, maybe even our fingernail, so we can make sure that those are nice and tight, okay? Once we've checked our connections, we can go ahead again and put the long side wire on the plus one and the shorter wire here. Oh, still nothing. Okay. The other thing we can do, of course, is make sure you've got the right wires in the right places, right? Again, this is our plus wire, comes out of the plus side of the battery, the one with the button on it. And that's where the longer leg of our little light bulb needs to go. So look at this guy. And let's try it one more time. Oh, that one lit up. So I might have just had the light bulb on the backwards end. Backwards, right? It will only work if you do it in the right direction. The last thing that you might need to check is if it doesn't work, you've tried everything, you've made sure all of the connections are working, you could hold this up to the light, like outside or a bright light in your house. It's possible that these light bulbs are broken. They might have come to me broken. We might have burned them out by giving them too much juice on accident. So if that's the case, grab your other light bulb. I gave you two, knowing that one of them might not work. Make sure we put the right leg in. The long leg goes to the plus side, like that. Give some darkness. Short leg goes to the other one. Look at that. So we got it. So I either was using a broken light bulb or I had it in there backwards. One way or the other, something wasn't working. But now that I've got it, I know, and I'm ready for Mystery Science Doug. Nice job.